Don't move. Stay down.
Help, they're coming! They're everywhere,
The ballroom fell silent the instant the grand crystal doors swung open. Every noble expected laughter when the poor village girl accepted the playful invitation to the Duke's annual ball. They had invited her only to entertain themselves, to watch her stumble, blush, and run away in humiliation. Instead, every head turned toward Lady Meristelle Voss, wrapped in a simple ivory gown that somehow outshone every diamond in the room. She walked with quiet grace, as if the ballroom had been waiting for her all along. Even the powerful Duke Caelum Ashridge forgot the woman standing beside him. Then, one by one, the lords bowed. The ladies' smiles disappeared. Jealous whispers spread like wildfire. Who is she? But the most shocking moment came when the Queen's closest advisor slowly crossed the ballroom, knelt before the poor girl, and whispered, just loud enough for everyone to hear, "My lady, we've been searching for you." Meristelle's smile faded. How could a girl who owned nothing make an entire kingdom tremble? And what secret was hidden behind the invitation that was meant to destroy her, but instead crowned her the center of every eye? Stay with me, because the next chapter reveals why the richest families suddenly feared the poorest girl in England. Before we begin, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another unforgettable Regency romance filled with love, betrayal, shocking secrets, and impossible destinies. The words echoed through the ballroom. "My lady, we've been searching for you." For a heartbeat, no one breathed. Meristelle Voss stared at the elderly advisor kneeling before her. His voice carried neither doubt nor hesitation. It carried certainty, the kind that belonged to someone who had spent years searching for a face he feared he would never see again. Around them, the orchestra fell silent. The laughter that had filled the grand hall only moments before disappeared, replaced by whispers that grew louder with every passing second. Meristelle lowered her eyes, confused more than frightened. "There must be some mistake," she said softly. "I am no lady." The old man looked up at her with eyes shining from emotion. "That is exactly what they wanted you to believe." The sentence struck her harder than she expected. Before she could ask another question, Duke Caelum Ashridge stepped forward. His sharp gray eyes rested on Meristelle for several long seconds. He had watched countless noble women compete for his attention, each wearing fortunes in jewels. None had unsettled him. This quiet girl in a plain gown had somehow stolen every eye in the kingdom. "You know this woman?" the Duke asked. The advisor slowly rose. "I do. Who is she?" "I cannot answer that here." His answer only deepened the mystery. Across the ballroom, Lady Sabine Everleigh crushed her fan so tightly that its carved ivory frame snapped. This was impossible. Meristelle had been invited only because Sabine and her friends wanted an evening of amusement. They had laughed when they found the poor flower seller outside the market that morning. "You've never seen a royal ball, have you?" Sabine had teased with a sweet smile. Meristelle had simply shaken her head. "Then come. It will be entertaining." She had accepted because she believed kindness still existed among strangers. Now the same women wished she had never entered the palace. Sabine stepped forward with a graceful smile that barely concealed her anger. "Your Majesty's advisor must be mistaken. This girl gathers flowers outside Eastbridge Chapel. Everyone knows her." Several guests nodded. "She lives in a tiny cottage. She owns nothing. She isn't even educated." Meristelle felt dozens of eyes judging every thread on her dress. She wanted to disappear. She had never belonged in places like this. The polished marble floors reflected glittering chandeliers. Golden balconies overlooked the dancers below. Every noblewoman wore gowns embroidered with silver and pearls. Every gentleman carried himself with effortless confidence. She remembered polishing old shoes just to earn enough coins for bread. She remembered sewing the same dress again and again because buying another was impossible. She remembered standing in freezing rain outside the village bakery, hoping stale bread would be left at closing time. That had been her life. Simple, quiet, difficult. Yet despite everything, she had never allowed bitterness to settle inside her heart. Every morning she woke before sunrise to collect wildflowers from the nearby hills. She tied them into small bouquets and sold them in the town square. Some customers paid fairly. Others bargained until she earned almost nothing. Still, she smiled. People often asked why. She always gave the same answer. A kind heart is worth more than a full purse. Many admired her for it. Others called her foolish. Back in the village, an elderly widow named Mrs. Brielle often depended on Meristelle's help. Though Meristelle barely had enough for herself, she carried food to the old woman whenever she could. There was also little Orwin, the blacksmith's son, who waited every afternoon for Meristelle to tell him stories while his father worked. She never realized those small acts had become the reason the entire village loved her. The only family she had left was Aunt Corinne. Corinne had raised her since she was barely old enough to walk. She was gentle, but unusually protective. Whenever Meristelle asked about her parents, Corinne's smile always faded. "They loved you more than life," she would whisper. "And where are they?" "They're beyond our reach." No matter how often Meristelle asked, the answer never changed. As a child, she accepted it. As she grew older, the silence became harder to understand. There were other strange things too. Hidden beneath the floorboard inside their tiny cottage rested an old velvet pouch. Corinne warned her never to open it. "No matter what happens," she always said, "promise me you won't touch what's inside." Meristelle had kept that promise for years. She never questioned why, not until tonight. Inside the ballroom, Duke Caelum continued watching her. Something about her face stirred an unfamiliar memory. Not a clear one, only fragments. A garden, a child's laughter, a tiny hand reaching toward a white rose. He frowned. It made no sense. He had never seen this young woman before. Had he? The queen herself finally rose from her throne. Instantly, the room became silent. She descended the marble steps with calm elegance until she stood before Meristelle. Instead of looking at her worn dress, the queen looked directly into her eyes. "What is your name?" "Meristelle Voss, Your Majesty." "And your parents?" I don't know." The queen exchanged a glance with her advisor. Neither spoke. That silence frightened Meristelle more than any accusation. She suddenly wished she had stayed in the marketplace arranging flowers beneath the morning sun. She wished she had refused the invitation. Nothing about this evening felt real anymore. Far across the ballroom, hidden behind a carved stone pillar, a tall gentleman dressed entirely in black watched the scene unfold. His expression darkened. "So she survived," he murmured. One gloved hand slipped inside his coat. He unfolded an old sketch. Though faded by time, the young child's face on the parchment looked remarkably like Meristelle. He quietly burned the drawing in the nearest candle flame until only ashes remained. No mistakes this time. Without another word, he disappeared into the palace corridors before anyone noticed he had been there. Back inside the ballroom, the queen gently reached for Meristelle's hand. The moment their hands touched, something unexpected caught everyone's attention. A delicate birthmark, shaped like a silver lily, rested beneath Meristelle's wrist. The queen froze. The advisor closed his eyes. Even Duke Caelum's heartbeat seemed to stop. Meristelle noticed their expressions. "What is it?" she asked quietly. No one answered, because every person who recognized that mark knew one terrifying truth. Someone had spent 20 years making sure the girl standing in this ballroom would never be found, and whoever had failed would almost certainly come looking for her tonight. The silence shattered with the sound of breaking glass. One of the palace windows exploded inward. A black arrow sliced through the air, aimed directly at Meristelle's heart. Before anyone could scream, Duke Caelum lunged forward and wrapped an arm around her waist, pulling her to the polished floor. The arrow struck the queen's throne instead. The force buried it deep into the carved wood. Panic erupted across the ballroom. Ladies screamed. Musicians abandoned their instruments. Guards rushed toward the shattered window with swords drawn. But the assassin had already disappeared into the darkness beyond the palace gardens. Caelum remained over Meristelle for a moment, shielding her with his own body. "Are you hurt?" he asked. She shook her head, unable to speak. Her heart pounded so violently she thought everyone could hear it. No one had ever tried to kill her. Why would they? She sold flowers. She owned nothing. She had no enemies. The queen slowly approached the arrow, still buried in the throne. Tied beneath its iron tip was a narrow strip of black cloth. The advisor removed it carefully. His face turned pale. "What does it say?" the queen asked. He hesitated. "It says, she should have died 20 years ago." The room fell into another stunned silence. Every noble instinctively looked toward Meristelle. She felt as though the ground had disappeared beneath her feet. 20 years. She was 20 years old. Her breathing became uneven. "No," she whispered. "This cannot have anything to do with me." The advisor looked at her with sorrow. "It has everything to do with you." Meristelle stepped backward. "I don't understand any of this." "You will." "When?" "If we survive the night." Those words chilled everyone present. Captain Rowan Hale, commander of the Royal Guards, entered the ballroom, carrying another discovery. He bowed before the queen. "We searched the garden, and we found footprints leading to the northern wall." "Anything else?" Rowan unfolded a piece of crimson fabric. "It appears the assassin belonged to an organization known as the Crimson Veil." Several older nobles gasped. The younger guests exchanged confused glances. Meristelle noticed the reaction. "What is the Crimson Veil?" No one answered immediately. Finally, the queen spoke. "They are not thieves. They are not ordinary killers. They erase bloodlines." Meristelle stared at her in disbelief. Bloodlines, families, children, entire names disappearing from history. Her knees nearly gave way. Caelum quietly steadied her before she could fall. His touch was firm but gentle. "You need to breathe." She nodded weakly. "I'm trying." He had faced wars. He had survived duels. He had watched men die beside him without losing control. Yet watching this frightened young woman struggle to understand why someone wanted her dead unsettled him far more than any battlefield. She was terrified, but beneath that fear, he saw something else. She refused to run. Most people would have collapsed. Meristelle kept asking questions. She wanted truth more than comfort. The queen turned toward her. "You cannot return to your village." Meristelle blinked. "My home. It is no longer safe. My aunt is there. We will send guards. I have to go back." "No." The queen's voice left no room for argument. "If the assassin knows who you are, your cottage is already being watched." Meristelle imagined Aunt Corinne sitting beside the fireplace, unaware of everything happening inside the palace. Fear tightened around her chest. What if they've already found her? The question lingered unanswered. Caelum saw tears gathering in her eyes. He had expected desperation. Instead, she surprised him again. "My aunt comes first. You barely escaped death," he reminded her. "I know, and yet you're thinking about someone else. She has spent her whole life protecting me." Caelum looked away for a brief moment. He had grown up surrounded by people who protected wealth, titles, and reputations. Very few protected each other. This poor flower seller possessed a loyalty that many nobles could never buy. The advisor stepped closer. "There is something your aunt never told you." Meristelle looked at him. "You know her. I knew the people who entrusted you to her. You knew my parents." The old man remained silent. His silence was answer enough. Emotion overwhelmed her. For years she had begged for even the smallest piece of truth. Now everyone around her seemed to know the answers except her. She felt anger rising for the first time. You all know something. No one denied it. You let me live in confusion. The queen lowered her eyes. It was the only way to keep you alive. Meristelle took another step back. I don't know who to trust anymore. Caelum spoke quietly. Then trust what people do. She looked at him. Not what they say. His words settled inside her. Actions. Her aunt had sacrificed everything. The queen had ordered guards around her. Caelum had thrown himself in front of an arrow without hesitation. Perhaps actions truly revealed more than promises. Outside the palace, hidden among the trees, another pair of eyes watched the lit ballroom windows. Lord Malric Dunsmuir lowered the hood covering his face. His expression remained calm despite the assassin's failure. So the girl lives. A guard approached nervously. My lord, shall we attempt another strike? Malric smiled. No, the palace is too alert. What then? We let them protect her. The guard frowned. I don't understand. They will lead her exactly where I need her. He mounted his horse. The dead cannot reveal secrets, but the living always do. He rode into the darkness, leaving the frightened guard behind. Inside the palace, Rowan returned carrying another report. We questioned the servants. And? A carriage left the village where Miss Voss lives, less than an hour before the attack. Meristelle's stomach tightened. Who was inside? We don't know, but it was heading toward your cottage. She turned pale. Aunt Corinne. Without thinking, she ran toward the ballroom doors. I have to get to her. 2 guards blocked her path. You cannot leave. Move. It isn't safe. My aunt is alone. Caelum caught up with her. If you leave now, you'll ride straight into the assassin's hands. I don't care. I do. She looked into his eyes. I've already lost my parents. Her voice broke. I won't lose the only family I have left. For the first time, Caelum understood that this was no longer about protecting a mysterious girl. It was about protecting someone whose courage came entirely from love. He made his decision. I'll take you. The queen looked sharply at him. That road is dangerous. I know. The assassin expects exactly that. Then let him. The advisor watched Caelum carefully. Perhaps destiny had begun moving long before tonight. Meristelle hesitated only for a moment before placing her trembling hand into his. It seemed like a simple decision. A desperate journey to save the woman who had raised her. Neither of them realized that stepping into the same carriage would bind their futures together in ways neither kingdom nor fate could ever undo. And somewhere ahead, in the lonely cottage she had always called home, someone was already waiting for them. The palace gates opened, and the royal carriage disappeared into the cold night. Rain began to fall, turning the empty road into a ribbon of mud that stretched toward Eastbridge village. Meristelle sat across from Duke Caelum, clutching her trembling hands together. She had never ridden in such a magnificent carriage, yet she could not admire the polished wood or the velvet seats. Every beat of her heart carried the same fear. Please let Aunt Corinne be safe. Caelum watched her quietly. She had barely spoken since leaving the palace. He knew she was frightened, but there was something stronger beneath that fear. She had not once asked who she truly was. Her only concern was the woman who had raised her. You love her very much, he finally said. Meristelle nodded. She is the only reason I survived my childhood. She stared through the rain-covered window. There were winters when we had only 1 loaf of bread for an entire week. Caelum remained silent. She always claimed she wasn't hungry. A sad smile crossed Meristelle's face. I believed her when I was little. She lowered her eyes. When I grew older, I realized she had been giving me her own portion. Caelum looked away. His own childhood had been filled with servants, tutors, and endless banquets. He had never known hunger. For the first time in years, he felt ashamed of how little he understood the lives of ordinary people. The carriage suddenly slowed. Captain Rowan rode beside the window. My lord, what is it? There are fresh horse tracks ahead. How many? At least 6 riders. They're trying to hide them. Caelum's expression hardened. They're expecting us. Meristelle felt her stomach tighten. You think they're waiting? I know they are. The horses continued forward. Every sound became louder. Rain striking the carriage roof, hooves crushing wet earth, branches scraping against the windows. Meristelle tried to steady her breathing. She remembered Aunt Corinne's words from years ago. When fear comes, don't let it choose your path. Back then, she thought her aunt meant difficult days at the market. Now those words carried an entirely different meaning. The road narrowed as the forest closed around them. Without warning, an enormous tree crashed onto the path. The horses reared violently. The carriage came to a sudden halt. "Stay inside!" Rowan shouted. Before anyone could move, arrows rained from the trees. One struck the carriage door, another pierced the driver's seat. The horses screamed, masked riders burst from the darkness. Steel flashed beneath the rain. "They're here!" one guard yelled. Caelum drew his sword and stepped out before anyone could stop him. "Protect Miss Voss!" The royal guards charged forward. The forest exploded into battle. Meristelle remained frozen inside the carriage. She had never witnessed violence. The sound of clashing swords shook her entire body. A wounded guard stumbled against the carriage before collapsing into the mud. His shoulder poured blood. Without thinking, Meristelle rushed outside. "My lady!" Rowan shouted. "It's too dangerous." She ignored him. The injured god struggled to breathe. She tore a strip from her own gown and pressed it firmly against the wound. "Stay with me." The young soldier looked at her in disbelief. "You should run. So should you." He managed a weak smile despite the pain. Another attacker charged toward them. Before Meristelle could react, Caelum intercepted the man. Their swords collided with enough force to send sparks into the rain. The masked assassin fought with frightening speed. Caelum answered every strike with calm precision. Within seconds, the attacker lay defeated. Caelum turned immediately toward Meristelle. "I told you to stay inside. He needed help. So do you. I'm unharmed. You won't be if you keep standing in the middle of a battlefield." She looked around. The fighting was becoming worse. Royal guards were being forced backward. More riders emerged from the trees. "There are too many," Rowan shouted. Caelum's eyes searched the forest. "This isn't an ambush. What is it? They're delaying us." The realization struck him immediately. "They don't want us." Meristelle looked at him. "They want time." Her face lost all color. "The cottage." She didn't wait for permission. She ran toward one of the riderless horses. Before anyone understood what she intended, she climbed onto its back. "Meristelle," Caelum called. "I have to reach her." The frightened horse galloped down the muddy road. Caelum cursed under his breath. Without hesitation, he mounted another horse and chased after her. Behind them, Rowan took command. "Finish the fight!" The rain became heavier. Meristelle struggled to control the horse. She had ridden only once as a child. Every jump nearly threw her to the ground. Still, she refused to slow. The wind stung her face. Branches clawed at her sleeves. Her thoughts never left Aunt Corinne. "Please be alive. Please." Caelum finally caught up beside her. "You'll kill yourself riding like this." "I don't care." "I do. You barely know me." He looked ahead. "I know enough." She stared at him, surprised by the certainty in his voice. Neither spoke again. They rode through the storm until the familiar outline of the small cottage appeared in the distance. Smoke rose into the dark sky. Too much smoke. Meristelle's heartbeat stopped. No. She forced the horse faster. The cottage was burning. Flames swallowed the roof. Windows shattered from the heat. She jumped from the horse before it had completely stopped. "Aunt Corinne!" She ran toward the burning doorway. Caelum caught her before she reached it. "Let me go! You'll die! She's inside!" She fought against his grip with desperate strength. "I have to save her!" The roof suddenly collapsed. Burning beams crashed across the entrance. Heat blasted outward. Meristelle screamed, "No!" Villagers rushed from nearby homes carrying buckets of water. An elderly man approached, coughing from the smoke. "You're too late." Meristelle turned toward him. "Where is she?" He lowered his eyes. "They took her." She grabbed his arm. "Who?" "Men dressed in black. They searched the entire cottage. They asked for you." Her knees nearly gave way. "They found an old woman. They forced her into a carriage. She kept begging them to leave you alone." Tears streamed down Meristelle's face. "They struck her. They said if she refused to speak, they would burn everything." Meristelle closed her eyes. This was her fault. If she had never gone to the ball, none of this would have happened. Caelum noticed the crushing guilt filling her expression. "This isn't because of you. It is. They came for me. They hurt her because of me." He stepped closer. "No, they hurt her because evil men made that choice." She looked at him through her tears. "I led them here. You couldn't have known. I should have stayed home. If you had, you would be their prisoner too." His words carried painful truth. An old village woman approached slowly. She held something wrapped inside a scorched cloth. "I found this beneath the floor." Meristelle stared in shock. It was the velvet pouch Aunt Corinne had forbidden her to open. The edges were blackened from the fire. The old woman placed it into Meristelle's hands. She risked her life trying to protect this. Meristelle's fingers trembled. For 20 years she had obeyed her aunt. She had never looked inside. Now her aunt was gone. The promise she had made no longer felt simple. It felt impossible. Caelum looked at the pouch. "Perhaps your answers are inside." Meristelle hesitated. "What if opening it changes everything?" He answered quietly. "Everything has already changed." She slowly untied the faded ribbon. Inside rested a small silver pendant, engraved with the same lily mark that lay beneath her wrist. Beneath it was a tiny golden key unlike any she had ever seen. Folded carefully underneath both objects was a single piece of worn parchment. Her hands shook as she unfolded it. Instead of words, there was only a map. A lonely monastery hidden deep within the northern mountains had been marked with a crimson circle. In the corner was a symbol identical to the one carved into the pendant. Neither of them noticed the pair of eyes watching from the shadows beyond the burning cottage. Lord Malric stood silently beside his horse. A slow smile spread across his face. They found the map. He turned to his waiting men. "Good. Now they will walk exactly where I want them to go." He disappeared into the darkness before Meristelle ever knew he had been there, leaving her standing before the ashes of the only home she had ever known, holding the first piece of a truth, powerful enough to change the fate of an entire kingdom. The fire behind them slowly died, leaving only smoke drifting into the night. Meristelle held the pendant tightly against her chest, while staring at the map. The crimson circle around the monastery seemed almost deliberate, as if someone had expected her to find it one day. Caelum unfolded the map beneath the light of a lantern. "The monastery lies beyond Blackstone Pass." Rowan studied it over his shoulder. "That road has been abandoned for years." "Why?" "The monks vanished." Meristelle looked up. "Vanished? No one knows where they went." The old villager standing nearby swallowed nervously. "My grandfather used to say, no one who searched those ruins ever returned the same." Caelum rolled up the map. "Then that's where we're going." Meristelle looked toward the ashes of her home one last time. Everything she owned had disappeared within a single night. The flower baskets, the tiny wooden table, the window where Aunt Corinne always waited for her return. Nothing remained. She knelt beside the ruins and picked up a handful of blackened earth. Quiet tears slipped down her face. "I'll find you," she whispered. "I promise." As dawn approached, they began the journey north. The road grew steeper with every passing mile. Dense forests gave way to towering cliffs. Cold winds swept through the narrow mountain paths. Meristelle had never traveled beyond her village. Everything around her felt unfamiliar. Everything except the growing determination inside her. She no longer wanted only answers. She wanted justice. Hours later, They reached Blackstone Pass. The abandoned monastery stood high upon the mountain, hidden beneath creeping vines and broken stone arches. Time had nearly erased it. Its bells had long since fallen silent. Its gates hung crooked from rusted hinges. Yet someone had been there recently. Fresh footprints covered the dusty ground. Caelum immediately noticed them. "We're not alone." Rowan placed a hand on his sword. "They're waiting." Meristelle felt fear tightening inside her again. She almost stepped back. Then she remembered Aunt Corinne being dragged away. Her fear turned into resolve. "I'm going in." Caelum looked at her carefully. "You still have time to stay behind." She shook her head. "I've spent my whole life hiding from a past I never knew. I'm done hiding." Together they entered the monastery. Broken statues lined the entrance. Dust floated through pale beams of sunlight, breaking through the shattered roof. Every step echoed through the empty halls. The silence itself felt dangerous. Suddenly, a voice filled the chamber. I wondered how long it would take. Everyone stopped. Lord Malric emerged from the shadows dressed in black. His calm smile sent chills through the room. Behind him stood nearly 20 armed men, and beside them, bound to a stone pillar, was Aunt Corinne. "Meristelle," her voice cracked with relief. "My child." Meristelle rushed forward. The guards immediately crossed their swords. Malric raised one hand. "No closer." Meristelle froze. "What do you want?" "You." "Then let her go." Malric laughed quietly. "So much like your mother." Meristelle's breathing stopped. "You knew my mother. I knew everyone." He slowly descended the old stone steps. "Your parents trusted the wrong people. They paid for it. You killed them. I protected the kingdom." His words ignited something inside Meristelle. "You murdered innocent people. I erased a dangerous bloodline." She looked at him in horror. "What bloodline?" Malric smiled. "The rightful royal family." The monastery fell silent. Even Rowan stared in disbelief. Malric looked directly into Meristelle's eyes. "You were never a flower seller. You were born a princess. You were the last child of King Aldrin. The throne belongs to you." Meristelle could barely breathe. "No! You've lived because Corinne hid you." He glanced toward the frightened old woman. "I spent 20 years searching for both of you." Corinne closed her eyes. "I'm sorry." Meristelle shook her head desperately. "No, I should have told you. You were only a baby. I couldn't lose you." Meristelle wanted to run to her. Instead, she remained trapped behind drawn swords. Caelum stepped forward. "This ends today." Malric smiled. "You still believe this is about a throne?" He slowly drew his sword. "It never was. It was about power." The soldiers attacked. Steel crashed through the ancient monastery. Rowan led the royal guards into battle. The narrow hall erupted into chaos. Caelum fought his way toward Malric. Their blades collided with terrifying force. Malric was older, but every movement was precise. He had waited years for this moment. Caelum refused to yield. Meristelle searched desperately for a way to reach Corinne. She spotted a fallen dagger beside one of the broken pillars. Ignoring the battle around her, she ran. One attacker blocked her path. She grabbed a burning torch from the wall and swung it with all her strength. The flames struck the man's face. He stumbled backward. She reached the dagger. Hands shaking, she cut through Corinne's ropes. "Can you stand?" "I'll try." Another soldier rushed toward them. Before Meristelle could react, Corinne stepped in front of her. The sword pierced Corinne's side. Everything stopped. "No!" Meristelle caught her before she fell. Corinne smiled weakly despite the pain. "I finally kept my promise. Don't talk. You must listen. There isn't time." Tears streamed down Meristelle's face. "We'll save you." Corinne gently touched her cheek. "You already saved me. You gave my life purpose." She reached into her pocket and removed a tiny ring engraved with the same silver lily. "It belonged to your mother. Never let them erase who you are." Her hand slowly slipped away. "Corinne." No answer came. Meristelle broke into uncontrollable sobs. The woman who had loved her like a daughter was gone. Across the chamber, Caelum heard her cry. Rage unlike anything he had ever known surged through him. He drove Malric backward with relentless strikes. "You took enough!" Malric blocked another blow. "Emotion makes men weak. No, it reminds us what we're fighting for." Their swords clashed again. This time, Caelum disarmed him. Malric fell to one knee. His own blade slid across the stone floor. Meristelle stood. Her tears had not stopped. She slowly picked up the fallen sword. Every eye turned toward her. She walked toward the man who had destroyed her family, who had murdered her parents, who had burned her home, who had taken Corinne, who had stolen 20 years of her life. She raised the sword. Malric looked up. "Do it. Become exactly what I believed you would become." Her hands trembled. One strike would end everything. One strike would satisfy every ounce of pain inside her. She remembered every lesson Corinne had ever taught her. Kindness is not weakness. Mercy belongs to the strong. She lowered the sword. "I won't become a murderer to defeat one." Malric laughed bitterly. "You've already lost." Before anyone could stop him, he pulled a hidden dagger from his sleeve and drove it toward Meristelle. Caelum threw himself between them. The blade buried itself deep into his side. Meristelle screamed as Caelum collapsed into her arms, his blood staining the silver lily pendant she still wore around her neck. Caelum collapsed against Meristelle before she could catch him completely. The sword slipped from her hand and clattered across the stone floor. "No!" Her voice broke as she pressed both hands against the wound in his side. Blood soaked through her fingers almost immediately. "Stay with me!" Caelum forced a weak smile despite the pain. "I've had better days. Don't speak. You always tell people not to give up. Now listen to your own advice." His breathing grew uneven. Meristelle looked desperately toward Rowan. "Help him!" Rowan and 2 guards rushed forward, while the remaining soldiers surrounded Lord Malric. The defeated noble slowly backed away. For the first time since revealing himself, fear appeared in his eyes. He understood the battle had turned against him. The royal guards closed every escape. "There is nowhere left to run," Rowan said. Malric laughed quietly. "You think this ends with me? It ends today. You've only uncovered one lie." He looked directly at Meristelle. "The kingdom you wish to save has more traitors than loyal men." Before anyone reached him, he bit down on a small capsule hidden beneath his tongue. Foam gathered at the corner of his mouth. Within seconds, he collapsed onto the cold stone. By the time Rowan knelt beside him, there was nothing anyone could do. He poisoned himself. Silence settled across the monastery. Meristelle stared at the man who had stolen her family, her childhood, and Corinne's life. She had imagined facing him countless times since learning the truth. She thought victory would feel satisfying. Instead, she felt only emptiness. Nothing could bring her parents back. Nothing could return Corinne. No punishment was greater than what had already been lost. Her attention returned to Caelum. His face had become pale. She gently lifted his head onto her lap. "You promised to take me home." He looked at her with tired eyes. "I did. You don't get to break that promise." A faint laugh escaped him before pain silenced it. The royal physician, who had arrived with the second group of guards, knelt beside him. He carefully examined the wound. The blade missed his heart. Meristelle held her breath. But the physician looked up. "He has lost a great deal of blood. We must move quickly." The guards fashioned a stretcher from broken wooden beams and heavy cloaks. As they carried Caelum from the monastery, Meristelle refused to leave his side. She held his hand throughout the journey down the mountain. Several times, she thought he had stopped breathing. Each time he squeezed her fingers weakly. It was enough to keep hope alive. 3 days passed inside Ashridge Manor. Rain fell without pause. Meristelle barely left Caelum's room. She changed the cool cloth resting on his forehead. She helped the physician prepare herbs. She whispered stories about the flower market, hoping he could still hear her. On the 4th morning, his eyes finally opened. The first thing he saw was Meristelle asleep, beside the bed, with her head resting near his hand. She looked exhausted. Dark circles rested beneath her eyes. He gently brushed a loose strand of hair away from her face. She woke instantly. For one long moment, neither of them spoke. Then relief washed over her. "You frightened me. I frightened myself." She laughed through fresh tears. "I thought I'd lost you too." "You haven't." His voice was still weak. "I'm still here." Without thinking, she embraced him carefully. He wrapped one arm around her. Neither of them wanted to let go. Outside the room, Rowan quietly closed the door to give them privacy. Weeks passed. The kingdom slowly learned the truth. Hidden documents recovered from the monastery exposed Lord Malric's conspiracy. Several powerful nobles who had secretly served him were arrested. Others fled before justice reached them. The Queen ordered every record destroyed by Malric to be restored. The names of Meristelle's parents were finally returned to the royal history of the kingdom. For the first time in 20 years, people openly spoke of King Aldrin and Queen Evelyn without fear. Meristelle stood silently as her parents received the honor that had been stolen from them. She wished Corinne could have witnessed it. The old cottage was rebuilt by villagers who refused to let her childhood disappear completely. Instead of replacing it with something grand, they rebuilt it exactly as it had been. The tiny garden returned. The stone path remained. Flowers bloomed again beneath the window, where Corinne had once waited. Meristelle visited often, not because she had nowhere else to belong, but because it reminded her of the woman who had taught her compassion before she ever knew she was born into royalty. One afternoon, she stood beside Corinne's grave, holding a bouquet of wildflowers. "They asked me to live in the palace." She smiled softly. I almost said no. The wind carried the scent of blooming roses across the hillside. "I know what you would tell me. You'd remind me that running from responsibility helps no one." She placed the flowers gently upon the grave. "I'll try to become someone you'd be proud of." Behind her, quiet footsteps approached. Caelum stopped beside her. Neither interrupted the peaceful silence. After several moments, he finally spoke. She would already be proud. Meristelle looked at him. "I don't feel like a princess." "You don't need to." She smiled faintly. "I don't know the rules." "You'll learn. I still make mistakes. So do I." He reached into his coat. "I found something while the monastery was being searched." He handed her a small wooden box. Inside rested the pressed blue wildflower she had once sold outside Eastbridge Chapel. She looked at him in surprise. "You kept this?" "I bought it the morning before the ball." "You did?" "I was passing through the market. You smiled at an old woman who couldn't afford your flowers. I remembered thinking." He paused. "That kindness like yours was rare." Meristelle looked down at the flower. "So, we had already met. You simply didn't know." For the first time since everything had changed, she laughed freely. It felt strange, almost unfamiliar. Yet it also felt like healing. The Queen later offered Meristelle the crown that rightfully belonged to her bloodline. Every member of the royal council waited for her answer. She looked around the great hall, at the nobles, at the servants, at the guards who had fought beside her. Then she quietly shook her head. "I don't want a throne because of my name." The council watched in surprise. "I want to earn the trust of the people first." The Queen smiled. "Then perhaps you are already worthy of it." Months later, the kingdom slowly found peace again. The fear that had ruled for decades faded. Children laughed openly in village streets. Markets became lively once more. The scars remained, but life continued to grow around them. Meristelle often walked through the marketplace, wearing simple dresses instead of royal gowns. She still bought flowers from local children. She still remembered every hungry winter, every lonely morning, every lesson Corinne had taught her. She had entered the royal ball as the poor girl everyone expected to mock. She left it, carrying a truth powerful enough to change a kingdom. Yet of everything she discovered, the greatest treasure was never a forgotten crown or royal blood. It was the love she had been given by a woman who chose her, a people who accepted her, and a man who had willingly risked his life so she could have the chance to live hers. A year passed, yet people still spoke about the night. A poor flower seller walked into the royal ball and changed the fate of the kingdom. The palace no longer felt like a prison to Meristelle. It became a place where she could finally build the future that had been stolen from so many others. She refused to surround herself with luxury, while villages still struggled through harsh winters. The first order she signed was not for another ballroom or another celebration. She ordered abandoned farmlands restored, orphanages expanded, and taxes reduced for families who had lost everything during Lord Malric's years of corruption. Many nobles complained, "She thinks like a commoner." Meristelle overheard those words more than once. She simply smiled. "I was a commoner, and I never want to forget what it felt like." The servants adored her because she remembered every name. The children ran toward her instead of hiding behind their parents. She still visited Eastbridge every month. She still carried flowers to Corinne's grave. She still sat beside the little cottage, now covered with blooming roses, remembering the woman who had given her everything without asking for anything in return. One afternoon, while arranging fresh lilies beside the grave, she felt someone stand beside her. Caelum held a small basket. "I thought you might need these." She laughed softly. "You brought flowers to the flower seller. I've learned from the best." For a while they simply stood together, enjoying the peaceful silence. "I used to believe strength meant defeating enemies," Caelum finally said. "What do you believe now?" "It means protecting people before they become victims." She looked at him with quiet admiration. "You've changed. You changed me." He smiled. "So did you." Life slowly returned to normal. The villages flourished. The kingdom prospered. Justice replaced fear. Even those who once mocked Meristelle admitted they had been wrong. Lady Sabine Everley was among them. She requested permission to meet Meristelle privately. When she entered the palace library, she immediately lowered her head. "I came to apologize." Meristelle quietly closed the book she had been reading. "You don't owe me anything." "I do. I invited you to that ball because I wanted people to laugh at you. I was cruel. I judged your clothes. I judged your poverty. I never once looked at your heart." Meristelle studied her for several moments. A year earlier, those words would have reopened old wounds. Now they no longer had power over her. "You cannot change yesterday." Sabine nodded sadly. "I know, but you can change tomorrow." Fresh tears filled Sabine's eyes. "You forgive me. I forgive you. Not because you deserve it every moment, but because carrying hatred only keeps pain alive." Sabine quietly wept. When she left the library, she was no longer the proud woman who had mocked a poor girl. She left determined to become someone better. Months later, the queen announced before the entire kingdom that she wished to step away from daily rule. She officially named Meristelle as her successor. The great cathedral overflowed with nobles, merchants, soldiers, and villagers. Many expected an extravagant ceremony. Instead, Meristelle arrived wearing a gown of simple white silk, with only the silver lily pendant resting against her neck. No heavy jewels, no towering crown, only the symbol Corinne had protected with her life. As the archbishop prepared to place the royal crown upon her head, Meristelle gently stopped him. The crowd exchanged confused whispers. She turned toward the gathered people. "This crown belongs to every mother who sacrificed for her child." She looked toward the villagers. "It belongs to every family who survived hunger." She looked toward the soldiers. "It belongs to every guard who gave everything so others could live." Finally, she looked upward. "And it belongs to the woman who raised me to believe kindness is the greatest form of courage." Only then did she allow the crown to rest upon her head. The cathedral erupted into thunderous applause. Even the oldest nobles wiped away tears. Yet fate had one final secret waiting. Several weeks after her coronation, Rowan arrived carrying a weathered chest recovered from beneath the monastery after workers cleared the collapsed tunnels. It was hidden inside a sealed chamber. Meristelle carefully opened it. Inside rested journals belonging to King Aldrin. Her father's own handwriting filled every page. She held the first journal with trembling hands. The final entry had been written the night before his death. "My beloved daughter, if this reaches you, then heaven has shown us mercy. I know I may never watch you grow. I may never teach you to rule, but if you inherit only one thing from your mother and me, let it be this: never measure greatness by crowns. Measure it by how many lives become brighter because you existed." Meristelle could no longer hold back her tears. She pressed the journal against her heart. For the first time, she felt as though her parents had finally spoken to her. Hidden beneath the last journal was one final surprise: a folded painting. She slowly opened it. It showed King Aldrin, Queen Evelyn, and a tiny little girl no older than 2 years old, laughing in her father's arms. Meristelle stared at the child's face. For 20 years, she had never known what her family looked like together. Now she finally did. She smiled through her tears. "I'm home." Years later, travelers crossing the kingdom often told one particular story. Not about the richest queen, not about the most powerful ruler. They spoke about the queen who still stopped to buy wildflowers from village children, the queen who remembered hunger, the queen who never forgot the poor girl she once was. And every spring, on the anniversary of the royal ball, the palace opened its doors to every child, every widow, every laborer, and every forgotten soul. No invitation was required, because Meristelle never wanted another kind heart to believe they did not belong. As the celebration ended one peaceful evening, Caelum joined her on the palace balcony. "The kingdom finally has peace," she nodded. "For now, you think another storm will come?" She looked toward the stars. Life always brings another storm. But now, she gently took his hand. "We know how to face it together." Far below, music filled the gardens. Children laughed beneath glowing lanterns. The same palace that had once welcomed her with mockery now echoed with hope. And somewhere in the quiet breeze that carried the scent of lilies, it almost felt as though Corinne, King Aldrin, and Queen Evelyn were smiling at the life she had built from ashes. Perhaps the greatest miracle was never that a poor girl became a queen. Perhaps it was that she never stopped being the kind-hearted flower seller the world had once underestimated. Did you expect Meristelle to be the lost princess from the very beginning, or did that revelation surprise you? If you had been in her place, would you have chosen revenge or mercy when facing Lord Malric? Thank you so much for staying with me until the very end of this unforgettable Regency romance. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who loves emotional historical romances, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Your support helps bring more unforgettable stories filled with love, sacrifice, betrayal, and hope. I'll see you in the next story.